What's up YouTube? So in my recent video about kick drums, I posted a Zenonesque-Style example. Quite a few of you guys were interested in how I did the bass for that example. So I'm going to walk you through it. Let's dive in and have a look. So just as a quick recap and show you guys a little bit of what I've kind of like added. I've added this cool little percussion groove thing to add a kind of like polyrhythmic type of thing to what I was busy working on. But just to recap you guys, I'm going to show you the example of what we are working on over here. So let's have a look at this bass. It's pretty simple. I'm going to show you guys how we create such a thing. So what I'm going to do quickly is jump in and add a blank instance of Serum over here. And we can dive in and start creating the sound. So what I did was I actually straight off the bat went to basic shapes, turned the random down, so that the phase is triggering the same every time, and then switch the wavetable position over to the saw wave. So we are now creating a basic shapes saw wave. I'm going to quickly show you guys the MIDI, and then we're going to dive into a little bit more of the sound design elements that are going on over there. So let's just copy this across, and we can dive in and have a look quickly at what's going on and what particularly makes this special with regards to most kind of other traditional psytrance that we know with the kind of a galloping bass line. So as you see here, there's a kick and a bass playing at exactly the same time. What? Which is kind of like sacrilege within psytrance, but whatever. It suits this groove of this kind of style. So every second one is kind of like shifted one off. So it kind of like gives this like slightly off time syncopated groove where you've got like this one that's on the kick and one that's slightly off the kick, and they're both side chains, so you don't really notice that it's on the kick, but you'll get the vibe when we start creating the synth, when we start creating the sound and soloing it and stuff. And then here at the end of the bar, we've got a little bit of a portamento thing going on there. So for those who are wanting to copy that MIDI, you can pause the screen over there and do that. But let's just dive into this sound design over here real quick, and we can start recreating the actual patch. So the patch itself is pretty simple. What we're going to want to do first off is turn the octave down one, and then we can hit mono legato and give it a little bit of portamento. So that's going to give it that kind of like slidey motion at the end of the bar. So here what we can do is we can apply a filter. We can turn it up a couple to MG low 24. We can turn this down quite a bit. Okay, so we're getting there. What we're going to want to do here though is let's put on a LFO tool. So we can create a sidechain pattern. I'm just going to check what we had in the previous example. So it was something like this. Let's just copy this one over like this. So at about a third of the way across, we go all out and then down a little bit like that. Sort of that kind of shape. So here, I did something interesting with the actual kind of like FFT harmonics. As you can see here, let's actually just pop this over here. And I boosted some of the kind of like mid-range harmonics over there just to kind of like, you know, give it extra mid-range. I think it was like the third and fourth or something like that. So it gives it that kind of like mid-range grindy texture. So here what we can do is we can give it another envelope just to give it a little bit of pluck or a little bit of movement over the kind of like duration of the sound. We can play with it here, we can be experimental, you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing here. That kind of accentuates that kind of like offbeat, you know, where we shifted that one note slightly off. It accentuates that part of it. So I'm just going to add some compression inside Serum here just to bring the level up a little bit. And that's about it from the Serum side of things. So I want to dive into what I did in terms of the processing here. I'm actually just going to drag this instance over onto this channel and we can have a look at it because it might be getting a little bit advanced to recreate that whole thing. So let's just pop this over here. Before the LFO tool, I can enable it and we can open it up over here. So I basically was trying to create a kind of like mid-range or high mids kind of like saturation system and then add a bit of this kind of like disperser to the kind of lower mids. So what I actually want to do is, so this is only mixed to about 30%. I want to turn this all the way down so we can just focus in on what disperser is doing here. And I actually want to turn this up so you can really hear what's happening. It's kind of like smearing that like lower mid-range, kind of like it's kind of making it more rounder rather than boxy, if that makes sense. But I feel like it was too drastic, so I just mixed it down a little bit. Same thing with this saturator. I feel like I changed the patch a little bit in terms of those envelopes so I can actually reduce this amount of mix. Because we're adding more kind of like mid-range harmonics in the sound, we don't have to add it with the saturator afterwards. But anyway, that's about it in terms of the bass there. Then the rest was slight equalization. I added a 20 pass and then removed some of the mid-range over here. Awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm going to be posting this preset to my Patreon for all my $5 supporters. So if you want to know what that's all about, check out the link that's going to be in the description. If you like this video, hit that like button. But yeah, also if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and see you guys next time. Cheers.